And welcome to another edition of Living the B3 Way. Today, I wanted to talk to you about a topic that a lot of my clients bring to me. They're always having a challenge when it comes to eating out. Who doesn't like eating out? Well, I have a few clients who love to cook, and I love to cook too. But when you go out to dinner or out to lunch or just when you're on vacation, part of why we go out has very little to do with the food, and the restaurants know that. It's more about the experience. And if we can enjoy the experience, but not at the expense of our waistlines or our health, it's all more power to you. Well, that's what today is all about. So why don't we get started and talk about some of the ways that I happen to really like helping my clients change the way they think when it comes to ordering out. So the first thing that I encourage my clients to do is pick the restaurant before you decide to go out and look at the menu online. Then pick what you want to eat and stick to it. Don't go by the specials. Don't waver if somebody else is ordering appetizers. It really makes a difference when you set an intention before you go out. Number two, you have to decide before you leave the house, not just look online and look at the menu, but decide specifically. That's going to make a huge difference. It'll help you from eating extra calories. And talk to your spouse, talk to your friends about what you're trying to accomplish so that they don't try to sabotage you with dessert or extra alcohol. Makes a big difference. Find a satisfying food that's going to help you meet your goals. Don't go to a restaurant where you know you want the cheeseburger and french fries, but anything else just won't do. Pick a different restaurant. You're not going to get a cheeseburger and french fries at a sushi restaurant. And don't be afraid of eating something you really enjoy, like a steak, but instead of eating the steak you always love getting, why don't you get the petite filet mignon, which tastes great, smaller portion size, and is a leaner cut of meat. Something to think about. Okay, let's focus on the experience. You're out with your friends, you're having a good time, you're talking, you're catching up, you might be out with family. Okay, well, there's some fun things that happen there, but usually you're out because you want to enjoy yourself, enjoy being alone. Maybe you're on date night with your significant other, or you're with your family. Focus on that experience and allow yourself to be present at the time. Listen to the music that's there. Look at the ambiance. Look and see how the restaurant has actually decorated itself, and be present. Be focused on the experience. The other thing that I think is important, I had a client once who said, oh, I had a meal with some friends and the waiter was just so tough. He actually challenged me when I asked, can I ask to have my meal a certain way? And he really made me feel intimidated. And I said, listen, you're paying for this. Be assertive with the waiter. And it makes a difference when you're assertive. If you have a waiter who happens to be gruff like that, hey, I know that can be challenging, but I'm going to tell you that this is about you, not the waiter. So you're there to be served. And when you have it, it's the way you approach the waiter to let them know, hey, listen, I have some requirements. I'd like to make sure that I do this, this, and this with my meal. And we're going to talk more about that. But the first step is going in, making the decision that you're going to be assertive with the waiter, and maybe you don't even want to hear the specials. Now, how do you be assertive with the waiter? Number one, you ask for, you know what, I'm going to order this dish. Either you're going to split it with your significant other, pay extra, it's not a big deal, or you say, can you pack half of this in the doggy bag before you bring it to me? Or you ask for a doggy, one of those dishes to be sent to you for takeout. You say, listen, this is just something that I do, or bring it yourself from home. Being assertive makes a difference. Don't worry about what everybody else is thinking or saying. You have no control over that. Another thing you can do is, instead of focusing on a portion of a restaurant that they're serving and controlling, why don't you focus on having 2 appetizers? I've done that many times. Today, appetizers are so big that they're like main courses used to be 30, 40 years ago. Or they're the main courses you go with those really fancy restaurants. Those main courses are usually even smaller than the appetizers, but it makes a difference to have those two. You feel like you're eating more and you're enjoying yourself. Here's another one that I love doing, and it makes a difference, is I always look at, for whatever's on the menu, the vegetables that I like. Because remember, when you go into a good restaurant, the way they prepare vegetables is going to make it taste great. And if not, don't go to that restaurant, because if they don't know how to cook vegetables, they're not a good restaurant. Ask for double a portion of vegetables instead of the starch. You don't need the starch. Don't eat the starch. Why? There's a lot of different reasons. It's a lot of empty calories. The vegetables will have more fiber in it. It'll be more satisfying, more to chew, and it will keep your stomach satisfied longer eating it with the protein. So half your plate protein, half your plate vegetables, and you're going to be a pig in mud. You'll be very happy. What's next? This is an important one. When you go to drink in a restaurant, alcohol is an inhibition drug. It is a sedative, but it works on reducing the prefrontal cortex. It sedates it, which is the filter in your mind, the filter that lets you say no when there might be a compulsion to say yes. And that's why people let their inhibitions down when they do drink. I'm going to encourage you to have the drink and tell the waiter, whatever drink you want, limit it to 1, and say, can you bring this with the main course? Enough said. Big difference. You're still enjoying your alcohol. You're delaying the gratification, but you can start the meal with fresh water, or have some fresh lemon or lime in the water, or even have sparkling water, which will really make you feel like you're enjoying something, because they'll typically put it in a nice glass. And last but not least, if you really want dessert, have a cappuccino. Just the cappuccino. Sometimes they'll bring you with a little piece of chocolate. Sometimes they'll even a little biscotti if you go to an Italian restaurant. But you can also order fresh berries and even some whipped cream, because whipped cream is not that high in calories. And now you feel like you've had dessert and you're enjoying yourself. And I will tell you that many times, because restaurants order really high quality berries, they're incredible. And the whipped cream is super fresh, as long as you don't go to a restaurant that uses Cool Whip. Okay. So those are just some of the ideas that you can use when going out. And I hope those help you eat more mindfully, because it's all about being intentional. When you're intentional with your health, amazing things start to happen. Well, that's another edition of Living the B3 Way, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Go make it a great week.